Dear audience, thank you for tuning in to watch the show that brings together over 500 schools across 10 regions to do one thing, debate. This is the Great Debaters Contest Season 9. I am your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperancia Kapanga. In today's Battle of the Sexes, we have the motion, socialist societies are superior to capitalist societies.
In the proposition, we have the lovely ladies from St. Anne's, Lioki.
And in the opposition are the gentlemen from Cornerbrook High School. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
They said, umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Christine Temnai from St. Anne's, Lioki, ready to strongly propose the motion that states socialist societies are superior to capitalist societies. Starting by definition of terms, socialism. This is an economic system where the means of production are owned by the state and everyone works for wealth that is in turn distributed to everyone. Capitalism, this is an economic system where the means of production are owned by private individuals who own private companies and they work for their own gain. A society, these are people in general living together in communities. Superior, this is something greater or higher in rank, importance, or position. So basically, we are trying to say socialist societies are countries that have adopted an economic system where the means of production are owned by the government, are owned by the state, and everyone, we join forces. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, they join forces. We work together for the benefit of every one of us. And capitalist societies, they are countries that have adopted an economic system where one works for your own wealth that is benefiting you alone. And there are several characteristics of socialist countries. 1, the government provides for the people. As we all know, what is good for one is good for all. Number 2, there is equal distribution of wealth among the people. Therefore, this creates a balanced economy. We are saying we are working together for the benefit of all of us. We are working together so that we can gain equally, so there will be no inequalities. We are having a balanced economy. So socialism has actually worked. For example, in countries such as Belgium, Sweden, Canada, Finland, Denmark, and there is also Norway. Let me inform you that according to www.theweek.com, Norway has a gross domestic product of $70,000 per person, unlike USA, which is exclusively a capitalist country. Mark you, USA is a veto power. It has a GDP of 59,500 per person. That is according to theweek.com. According to www.standardmedia.co.ke, the concept of capitalism may not be so simple because it only works for the handful at the expense of the majority. Why should we waste resources for your own good? Why is it that it is working for the handful, for a few, for the minority at the expense of all of us? Let us join forces. Jagi Vasudev said that I am convinced that the path to a new, better, and possible world is not capitalism. The path is socialism. Let us be united. When we are united, you won't see your neighbor suffering and you're there. You won't, even as we are here, we are here to promote the sustainable development goals which socialism is actually advocating for. For example, it promotes participation in development and also no poverty, high quality education and quality health. Join me. Tusipoziba ufa, tutajenga kuta. Thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes for crossing.
I am Raphael Obala from the Cornerbrook School, strongly, and I say strongly, opposing the motion that says that socialist societies are superior to capitalist societies. How about we start with definitions? According to Oxford 9th edition dictionary, on page 1433, says what socialism is. And it says, a set of economic and political beliefs where everyone owns factors of production. Well, on capitalism, page 213 of the same dictionary talks about capitalism being an economic system in which a country's businesses and industries are controlled and run by private profit rather than the government. Theoretically speaking, what they're trying to tell us is socialism is based on people's need and capitalism is based on people's greed. Well, seems to be the opposite if you think about it further. My main point, socialism encourages laziness, because when in a socialist society, no matter how much you do, even if you do so much and you do little and you do nothing, at the end of it all, you're still going to get something. So other people in socialist societies won't want to work because they know at the end of the day, I'm going to get a share of the national cake, even if I didn't participate in baking it. According to focuseconomics.com, says that USA, Japan, China are the top 3 economic giants in the world. What's common about those countries? Think about it. USA, China, Japan. All 3 capitalist countries. All 3 first world countries. That's a hard pill to swallow. Well, a quote that I got from all this: socialism is simply communism for people without the testosterone to man the barricades. That's something we got from Gary North. Well, with that, I have no more to say, but leave it to the next opposer. Thank you.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
Just stated actual facts from a dictionary. Can you imagine how much time we took doing that? Just to correct you, my dear brother, China is a communist country since 1st October 1949. Check on your facts, please. From wikipedia.org. And to my first point, socialism in Africa was actually embraced so as to unite the Africans together. Remember, unity is strength. Together we can achieve more. In socialism, everyone has an equal share of resources, and I want you to note that in socialism, what you contribute is what you get. Your input is always equal to your output. Can't tell me that because I want to go to work and you're going to work, you'll be paid more than me. No. I'll be paid according to my work, and you'll also be paid according to your work. And to my second point, in a capitalist society, the prices are determined by the market force. And if they're determined by the market force, we are exercising monopoly. Monopoly is a market in which there's only one seller. This seller can and will, most probably, encourage price discrimination. He will not or she will not care about the income of the common mwananchi. On to my second point, and I will kindly ask for your support. Please just take a minute, close your eyes, and think of that disabled man, your old grandmother, that person who cannot wake up from bed and go to work. Think of how they are right now. Think of how they are trying to improve their living standards. And if we were to embrace capitalism, this is why you're saying that you're going to work for your own gain. But in socialism, the government values the disabled and the incapable people for providing for themselves. I'm trying to tell you that you need to think about the people who are around you, the people who cannot care for themselves. In socialism societies, the government provides for the disabled and those who cannot be able to care for themselves. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
My name is Elijah Light from the Cornerbrook School, here to strongly oppose the motion that states socialist societies are superior to capitalist societies. Now, my sister here in academics, the first proposer, stated that it creates, and I quote, a balanced economy. And she gave us very many examples, but I only took one, Belgium. Now, why did you not talk about Venezuela? Yes, a once economic giant in South America that is now in an economic ditch. And guess what? Socialism. we are struggling here in Kenya, not only in Africa, for basic things such as quality healthcare, food, water. In Western European countries, they are getting these things for free. Think about that, for free. And guess what? Ask the basic site you can go to, YouTube. There are no socialist-based societies in Western European countries. Those that are providing free basic things that individuals need. So yes, I can't close my eyes and imagine that poor man in a better house. I can also imagine, as she said, if I close my eyes, someone getting better healthcare. The second opposer talked about monopolies. Yes, but capitalism increases competition. What results from competition? Better quality products. Low government intervention. Things like tribalism, nepotism, and all these forms of discrimination are the ones which are killing us as per now. No government intervention in the sense that our businesses are manned by private individuals, and thus they will make decisions not based on what the government wants, but what they think people deserve. I don't think I can say more up to that point. Thank you.
The proposers have been asked to give an example of a country that has absolutely no poverty, regardless of socialism or capitalism. The opposers, on the other hand, have been asked to relate the relationship between the adaptation of socialism in Venezuela and the country's economy becoming ditched. Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to respond.
It's funny how you'd ask such a question, Veronica. Yet, it's quite crystal clear that my fellow debater, the first speaker, Madam Christine Tamnai, gave an example of Norway, whose GDP is higher than that of USA, which is a veto power and is a capitalist country. And every single person in Norway lives above $75,000. Is that poverty to you? Well, let me give you further examples. There's Denmark, Sweden, Ireland, Finland, New Zealand, and Canada. I hope you're aware that these countries are one of the donor nations of the world. And my first point. My fellow debater from Cornerbrook talked about how the government takes advantage of other people and how it dictates on what the people want. Actually, let me quote a song from the famous Nyashinski of Kenya, Tujiangalie, where he talks about man eats, man society, which is practically capitalist society. Everyone in socialist society is entitled to the national cake. Every single person is going to give and going to get what they are supposed to get. And to my first point, yes, there's higher taxation, but due to that higher taxation, we're able to see the development in the country. Because, as I said, those examples of Norway, their education system is one of the best in the world, which is due to the fact that they're socialist. Try and imagine if we made our country a socialist country. Try and imagine where we would be. Yes, I know socialism has failed in Venezuela, in Africa, but it is because most of these leaders misunderstood. They did not sit down to think about what socialism is. Socialism is where the government, yes, it does make the choices for the people, but the government before made the decisions on behalf of themselves. But what if we choose better leadership? What if we make the difference? We are the future. We are the leaders of tomorrow. We are the intellects who will make the difference. So why not try and think of socialism as a way to make our country a better place? By improving the government, we will have solved the socialism issue, which I'm so sure corruption will be mentioned. But if the government is good, if the government is of quality, what makes you think that socialism will fail? 30 years from now, if we try socialism, we shall be better than the UK that practice capitalism, than the US that practice capitalism, because there's a future for us. Forward ever, backwards never. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes to make a statement.
My name is Arvin Agwanda, representing the Cornerbrook School, strongly opposing the motion that states socialist societies are superior to capitalist societies. And to answer the question from Alliance, the reason why Venezuela became economically ditched is because socialism hindered the economic growth. The government did not have enough money to sustain the economy. And to my first point, it improves efficiency. Private-owned enterprises or private-owned companies tend to offer better services than government-owned. Let's give ourselves examples, the basic examples like Kenyatta Hospital and Aga Khan. Which one is run better? Obviously Aga Khan, because they have better facilities that make it able to run smoothly compared to Kenyatta Hospital, where we have a lot of cases of death. People are dying in those hospitals because of lack of facilities. And my other point is, as my fellow colleague has said, the top 3 countries, Japan, USA, and China, have the highest economy. Yes, China has the highest economy. And guess what? They're all capitalist societies. We need to understand this. These capitalist societies tend to help in speeding up the economic growth, not only in taxes, but also in other ways like getting more facilities. Let's use example. What are some of the sources of government revenue? We know the main source is tax. The main source, as it being tax, companies, private-owned companies, tend to pay more tax than government-owned. Therefore, it speeds up the rate of economic growth in the country. And to all of you, I urge you all to come to our side and strongly oppose this motion, because we need to understand that these private-owned companies not only help themselves, but they can't help themselves before helping others to gain that profit that they are arguing about. Thank you.
Proposers, you have 1 minute for a final submission.
Please be keen, be keen, be keen. The second proposer talked about China being a socialist country from 1949, 10th October, from www.wikipedia.org. You're busy talking about the failure of socialism, but where is the success of capitalism? In Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Where? You're busy talking about how development will be brought due to capitalism. Due to this socialism, the government will bring foreign investors so as to raise the GDP of the country, so as to create employment for the people. And you're still talking about capitalism? Capitalism is me, myself, and I. But for socialism, ni sisi wote, sisi pamoja. And before I conclude, I'd like to call my fellow debaters for a simple explanation. Umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Join me in making our nation a socialist country so as to bring the development we want, the change we need, and the change we deserve. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
It's funny how they've been talking from the moment they began of umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni dhaifu. I have no problem with that saying. I gave you the example of Venezuela. You talked about Norway being socialist and providing the best education system in the world. Well, I think you need to also get your facts right, because Norway has a hybrid economy in that they are both capitalists and socialists. The second proposer said about is going. We need to talk about what's happening now, not what will happen when something else happens. Let's argue with facts like you began, not fiction. We're not watching a movie in IMAX. Therefore, stand with me in strongly opposing the motion that says socialist societies are superior to capitalist societies. Thank you.
St. Anne's. Christine, very good definition. I like the way you started it off. You made it us understand what you're talking about in terms of the characteristics and the likes, and even the examples that you gave. So that was a good start for your team as a first speaker, and you got the max for that. Sarah, good cross-examination as well. We could tell there was a little bit stutter in terms of your mastery of topic. Why? Because of the pauses sometimes, and that as well happened to Evan, okay? Catherine as well. Good answer, good role playing, and I think you stand out for your team as well. That is commendable. However, you made a fact there. You say that everyone in Norway lives with, I think, over $75,000. You know, that was a strong fact. But where's the evidence, okay? So you want to tell us according to who, okay? So that we're not thinking, hey, everybody should go to Norway so that we can live like millionaires. For Elijah, I think you have a good voice, you have a command on the stage, and you're a good speaker. And that's commendable of you. Good mastery of topic, because you could tell you're not even really referring too much. You're speaking from what you have understood. That tells us that you've understood your topic very well. But you made a very strong fact as well, and you said that no Western countries are socialists. You know, that's a fact, but where is the evidence, okay? Because they also came and said that some examples, the examples they gave, some of them were from Western countries, okay? So you want as well to validate what you're saying so that you can cross-examine them. I think I've mentioned all. Avin, I think I've already addressed you, that you're racing against time, so just check on that. There could have also been room for your submissions, because we noticed you didn't utilize your time fully. That tells us that probably you needed to give us more, okay? But all the best to both teams. I feel like there could have been more based on evidence, all right?
Down to the numbers. Cornerbrook High School, the judges awarded you 67%. Let's give them a round of applause. St. Anne's Lioki, with only a 1% difference. The judges saw it fit to award you 68%, making you the winners of this debate. Congratulations to both schools. To St. Anne's Lioki, congratulations for winning this debate. To Cornerbrook, do remember that the trick is in how you play the game and not winning it.
Indeed, Esperanza, you could not have said it better. Remember, the debate may be over, but the conversation still continues with the hashtag GDC for SDGs. We'd like to thank each and every person who's been able to make this show a reality. Remember, the best debates in the country are only found on the Great Debaters Contest. I have been your host, Chris Boro.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. See you next time.